Coming up today on Locked On Texas Tech, big fish in the pond. We've got the hook, other ocean-related analogies, and separating visiting fact from fiction next on Locked On Texas Tech.
You are Locked On Texas Tech, your daily podcast on the Texas Tech Red Raiders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Great to be with you again on Locked On Texas Tech on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day, always free and available on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Now, the number one sports podcast network in the world with the only Chris Level. I'm Casey Cowan. Chris, great to be back with you once again. You're on the road checking in from the Dirty Third in advance of a top 15 hoops showdown tonight, Texas Tech and Houston. Hope you've caught up with our basketball conversation to get you primed for that one. Find it on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts if you have not. We're stopping in midday this Tuesday for a transfer portal check-in and a couple of things to get into. Chris, I want to ask you about collaboration on a player level, because there's been a lot of consideration about whether or not some of these new additions are also big parts of the recruitments of others, and maybe why this visit or that visit could happen. And I think there's also a component when it comes to returning Red Raiders that could factor in large. So we'll get to that coming up in just a minute. Want to talk about the big fishes in general that continue to be targeted. It's fish is a word. Specifically now, an exciting name appearing on the defensive side of things. But in general, I'd like to kick off our convo, if I could, with you today, separating possibly some visiting fact from fiction, because I know reports fly wild. And one of the most recently hot stove names discussed on this program and elsewhere was that of Cam Coleman. And, of course, in the great state, here, there, we had a sighting in Lasbuddy. I mean, the reports were flying wild this week, Chris. So can you tell us about anything impending still as it relates to winding up in Lubbock, or did something derail? Because I know originally there was a thought this would be a destination.
Shout out to Lasbuddy, man. Yes.
Absolutely. And the Lasbuddy Flash, who's a Matador mobster, by the way.
Yeah. We love the folks out in Lasbuddy for sure. And all different parts. I tell you what is not free and what is not necessarily available are certain portal targets, like this podcast is. But the portal party, man, it is. We are still very much in the thick of it. I don't remember when I said about the number growing, and everybody's like, did he say 20? Yeah, and I don't know if it'll get to 20, but I mean, you're not slowing down. And again, I think that what's happened is that we'll get into a top defensive player that is set to visit, and this could, in turn, maybe cause one of your current guys to. So that's how this is working. We're just kind of, I think they're going for it, man. Like they are very much motivated. They're very much like, look at all this production available to us. And again, there's some ramifications for that. But yeah, we're in the thick of it. And you mentioned something about current player involvement, I guess. Yeah. I think in some cases, yeah. I don't know if that's always all in person. I think that the majority of your team is now off. There is, classes don't start for another week or so. So they didn't get much of a break during the holidays because they got to go home for Christmas for about 48 hours. And then they're back and practicing, and they were in Miami, and then you come back and they may have gone back home this past weekend. But I would say that some are very engaged, some of your top players. And so, whether that's FaceTime or Zooms or tweeting or whatever, if it's not in person, it's very much, there's some folks heavily involved here. Yes. Like most notably, Terrence Carter has been very out there, and we've just seen the tweets. There may be other stuff going on too, but I think that's very safe to assume that some of these folks directly involved in the immediate, some of your upperclassmen that are trying to lure other upperclassmen because you're trying to go win another title. You're trying to go get into the CFP again, all those things. So I think that's a very fair assumption to make.
Tweets, Instagram likes, potentially electrifying your workday. This is the activity of grown men in portal season, guilty, and a few gals out there as well enjoying this ride. As for Cam Coleman, can you touch on the speculation about a visit or what a non-visit on, I guess, this Tuesday meant, or was this just internet fodder? What's the latest there?
Yeah, I think he was always originally scheduled to visit later in the week and not on Tuesday. I think it was widely reported that that was when he was visiting by some. I think so because when you first hear like, "Hey, he's not coming today," you're like, "Oh no, uh-oh, what does that mean?" Well, I think the way it was explained to me was, trying to get him in earlier than originally thought, but it's going to be on Wednesday. And some of this is speculation on my part that maybe you're trying to link up Sorsby when he could be here, or help with the visit or whatever. I'm sure that the financial and the NIL component is a real thing with Cam Coleman, right? It's going to be with all these guys, but I do think that Cam Coleman is like, it's been written variety of times that I want to go with the quarterback is a big deal. Who is it? Can they get me the ball? What kind of offense am I in? All those kinds of things. So I think that's a big component too. So, but I think scheduled to be here tomorrow, which would be Wednesday. And he won't be alone. And again, folks, this is so USC took another. I think we mentioned the NC State receiver on the report yesterday. As soon as we did our show, USC signed him, and then USC's like, "Hey, Cam Coleman's not coming to visit us." We see how this works. So USC appears to be out. Bama may be involved, or this could be the trio in the state of Texas that are aiming for Mr. Coleman here. And you're going to get the last visit if that's indeed the case. And I think the Bama thing is kind of tied to like, what's Ty Simpson going to do and all that kind of stuff. So there's I think people trying to sort through that too. So we shall see. There are some that are very confident about Cam Coleman coming to Texas Tech. I think others are kind of in wait and see. All I'm prepared to say is I think you're involved. I think anybody that suggests otherwise is not accurate. I think he's the biggest of fish. I think that is tricky when you're dealing with trying to catch a marlin, right? I mean, sometimes you got to reel for a long time, and you got to wrestle, But I think
got to reel and wrestle.
Yeah, that's right, and sometimes it takes a bit. So we'll just kind of see how this plays out. But yeah, I think you're still in the middle of this until we hear differently.
I think there was a fundraiser the Lions Club used to put on over in Littlefield back in the day. The old reel and wrestle ended with a pool of Jell-O, but that's a story for another show. Chris, I got to get to, as I said on the show, I think just yesterday or a couple of days ago, still not quite sure what day it is. Do we keep time during portal season? No. I am always intrigued by any defensive excitement. And it sounded like all of a sudden there was a big name coming across Texas Tech's radar on Sheil Wood's side of things. Can you tell me more about that? And it's also at a spot a lot of people are curious about whenever it comes to some shoes to fill, I guess, in the back end of the defense at the safety position.
Yeah. So there's a lot of tentacles here on this one.
Today's episode brought to you by Open Door Financial. And if you're a Red Raider balancing family and career, you've probably thought about your financial future, retirement, getting out of debt, leaving a legacy for your kids. But here's the thing, most financial advisors just trying to sell you something, hit a quota, or they only work with clients who have huge investment minimums. And that's not how it should be done. That's where Open Door Financial Advisors comes in, doing things differently. They were founded by a 2007 Texas Tech graduate right here in Lubbock, and they've spent over 15 years serving Red Raider families across the nation with one simple mission, helping you gain financial freedom and peace of mind, no matter where you're starting from. And Chris, you've got a long relationship with Open Door Financial Advisors, and that's the thing they really love doing most, being Red Raiders that help out Red Raiders.
Yeah, Derek Finley, man, he is one of us. He is a Texas Tech guy that really wants to help Texas Tech people, and it doesn't matter where you live either, because I think he's got clients from all over. But he is based in Lubbock, and it doesn't matter. But if you're trying to get out of debt, or you're trying to man, how do I get wealthy and secure my future by saving? He can handle anything in between, all of it. But yeah, check him out. But yeah, Derek's good people, and he's a Red Raider. He's been on this journey for many years as it relates to Texas Tech. So
he knows what you're going through.
Yes.
And they work on a subscription-based fee-only model, which means they're never earning commissions on anything they're selling you. So there's no hidden agendas, no investment minimums, just straightforward advice. So whether, like Chris said, it's organizing investments, crushing debt, or building a legacy that goes beyond just money, they're ready to help families of all needs and resources, all while living by West Texas values, truth and grit. So if you're ready to work toward your big horizon, visit Open Door FA. That's opendoorfa.com to connect with Open Door Financial Advisors. Honest guidance for Red Raider families who want to take care of what matters most.
So Coy Parrish, I think is who I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He is one of the top, say, 15, 20 players in the portal, regardless of position. There are people out there that absolutely love this kid. Playmaker, does it all. He's got some personality, great name. Minnesota hated to lose him. He's a native Minnesotan. I think he actually may know Nolan Groves, your other favorite Minnesotan in the Texas Tech athletic department. And this, so he is scheduled to visit on Wednesday as well, and I think there's more than just chatter that Chapman Lewis may be seeking employment elsewhere. Is there a direct correlation there? I can't speak to that. I think Chapman is a phenomenal kid. He had an unfortunate injury in the bowl game against Arkansas in the Liberty Bowl there in Memphis. He was able to redshirt this year. Kid always walks around with a smile on his face. He's just a good human. And when he was a freshman, he just tackled everything in sight. But I did wonder because I think we've been asked about this too. What's happening at Cole Wisniewski's spot? And would that be Chapman Lewis? Would that be Malika Skara? Would that be Peyton Morgan? I'm sure there's other folks too, but maybe it's Coy Parrish, and you go portaling there. And this is also quite the big fish. This will garner a lot of headlines if you were able to add him. So stay tuned, I guess. I don't, I wasn't sure what they were going to do at safety, but I think that may have one coming, may have one going. I don't know. We'll just kind of see how it plays out. And I do hate seeing Chapman Lewis go because he's one of the few. He's one of the Kelby Volson, Chetta Ofili. I mean, these are a few of the guys that actually I think would have played. Maybe not started, but would have played, and maybe they want more than that. Maybe they want to get more NIL, or maybe they're just not comfortable with the role. I'm not sure, but Coy Parrish may in fact be the replacement there for Cole Wisniewski. Palms up, kind of question mark. I don't know, but that is another make you hot and bothered type of player addition there. This is this is a bona fide dude.
No doubt. Another law firm potentially scattered to the wind. RIP Sanford, Lewis, and Jordan. Same time we're having to say goodbye to Hunter Holmes and Gil Howard. It's just a lot for a podcast host to have to deal with. So please keep me in your thoughts as well. Chris, just like I said, there is no time kept during portal season. We don't know what day it is. It's not like where you get into weekend only type of visits. As you called it this week, jet setting is occurring in scholarly pursuit of the best academic surroundings. And it doesn't sound like there's really anything slowing down otherwise. We're talking about some big names, but I mean, I'm just trying to mentally keep a running tab numbers wise of what I know of. And that's obviously not even everything that's happening. But I mean, what are we talking about? 6, 7, 10 or more still bodies to be here that are here, have been on campus recently. It's kind of hard to keep track, but I think somewhere in that number, is that crazy?
Yeah, and as I'm sitting here, I think you may have you may have added a receiver.
First, today's episode brought to you by Rocket Money. Ever feel like your money can disappear each month? It can happen fast. A few subscriptions here, impulse buy there. Suddenly the numbers in your bank account don't match the numbers in your head. Rocket Money helps you get clarity, track every dollar, and stay in control of your finances, because managing your money shouldn't feel like a second job. Rocket Money does the heavy lifting for you so you can save more and stress less. Rocket Money will find subscriptions you forgot you were paying for and help you clean them all up quickly. And seeing all of your spending on one dashboard makes it easier to understand where your money is going. Plus, it's great how Rocket Money automatically builds budgets based on past spending and keeps you on track without overthinking it. And with the app, you're going to find good times to save each month and keep consistent with your financial goals. Take control of your finances and cancel your unwanted subscriptions with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/locked-on today. That's rocketmoney.com/locked-on. rocketmoney.com/locked-on.
You may have added a receiver. So it's all just happening so fast. Not named Cam Coleman, added a receiver. So we'll get to that in a second. Okay, so I'm just gonna word salad here. So be careful. I don't, however you like the croutons and the dressing and all that. Just bear with me here. You've got I believe an offensive lineman on campus from East Carolina named Emmanuel Poku. That is a interior. I think he's a guard. I think he's about 6'6", 330. I think he was a starter for the Pirates, and I think he's on campus. And I think that may you may be in a pretty good spot there. I think that would he pushed to start, maybe be an insurance policy or somewhere in between. So between Sheridan Wilson, Hunter Zambrano, Cash Cleveland, and Emmanuel Poku, you would for sure have three very experienced players to play three spots, and you'd have four of them if that's the way that this thing goes. Benny Johnson is the receiver I'm talking about from Pitt. He has been in on a visit. I think that and Pitt felt like he could end up being their number one guy. Never really got that far. I think he was kind of a number two, but you're starting to throw some numbers at this receiver spot, which we kind of knew that you would, just because you're losing a couple of starters and you've lost some depth there, and so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. We've talked about Cam Coleman, we've talked about Coy Parrish and all that. We're still waiting on an official announcement on Wendell Gregory. I think that looked pretty good, but again, nothing official out there just yet. But I still think the Adam Trick is another name to know from Miami of Ohio that I think came in here on a visit. Still trying to. I think he is a take if you can get him. I think JoJo Johnson, defensive tackle from Oregon State, would be another piece. I think that, and I'm going to try this name again, and hopefully we have to learn it for real. Mateen Igorogba. We're just going to stop there. From Wake Forest. I think he was set to visit Notre Dame and then Tennessee. I think the Notre Dame folks feel like he's not going to visit there, and I think some of that suggests that maybe it's because he's going to Texas Tech. So there's a lot of defensive linemen going on here. There was another one named Ira Singleton from USF, South Florida, that there's some whispers of SMU. Don't know if you'll get him, but I think he's kind of more of the Romello Height replacement. So we'll kind of keep an eye on that one. You've got a junior college quarterback that is now on the radar and has been offered, originally from Keller High School. That's got a great mustache, maybe a Mitch Griffiths replacement. So this machine just keeps rolling. The one other position too, because it's just hard to keep all this stuff straight, is tight end. They had a Nevada tight end, I believe, on campus named Jet Carpenter that I think would be the John Carlos Miller replacement. I think he's a bigger version of John Carlos to pair up with TC and Matt Ludwig, the kid they call Moose that they just signed, and then Trey Jackson, and I can't remember. I think Jason Llewellyn may still have some more eligibility, but I can't remember whatever. So, and then there's a few other tight ends just in case Carpenter is not a real option for you or not. But I know Carpenter was kind of a guy they were looking very hard at. So, yeah, I still think more work to be done on the defensive line in that this work may be done. We just don't know about it publicly yet, but you're still heavily involved with several players, and we're still kind of waiting to see what these guys have to say. So, edge, interior, all the above. So, yeah.
Ibarogba! If we put out the call, I think we'll get him. All right, excited about that and what is yet to come. And sure, plenty more unknown under the surface that will be revealed, I'm sure, as well. But all exciting stuff, and knowing for sure that we'll be back as soon as we can to reconvene and catch up again. Might get a basketball game in between then and now. I really don't know, Chris. I can't promise you anything time-wise, but I know you'll get one in eventually. So looking forward to that. Catch up on our hoops conversation to get ready for Red Raiders and Cougars if you haven't already on YouTube or anywhere you get podcasts. Chris, I appreciate the time on the fly, and we'll see you for the next one soon.
Sounds good. And the two final things I'll leave you with, Benny Johnson has nothing to do with Cam Coleman's recruitment, so don't want to get it twisted. And you better rebound tonight. You better find one. You better go hit somebody and go get a loose ball. Otherwise, not really a plan B. So you better go rebound tonight against these Cougs, man. But appreciate the time, Cowan. Hopefully, we're trying to do the best we can with all this, and it changes so fast. But this is the best way we know what to do here. And I wish we knew everything, but we don't. And we're trying as best we can. So
we coined it a glute game already this week. Glutes and elbows is what's going to be needed in this one to compete. All right, for Chris, I'm Casey. Appreciate y'all for being out there. The everydayers, of course, always out there in the Matador Mob. Hit our show notes and find a link to a free 14-day trial so you can keep firing away at us. Appreciate all the texts coming our way this week. You'll find that trial, and that's your direct line to Chris and myself with one-on-one text sent straight to your phone. We hope to see you back for the next round on Locked On Texas Tech.